My name is Latise M.Howie. I am 42 years old. I studied at North Carolina Central University. I have 3 children. It's been an amazing journey, to watch women and men both enjoy the book. My brother, who is not a reader, a lot of men who have picked up the book and read. My name is Latise M.Howie. I am 42 years old. I studied at North Carolina Central University. I have 3 children, divorced, and my children's age, they range from 20, 18, and 12. So writing a book is when you have your everyday life going on, who has time to do that? I'm just glad that God gave me the opportunity to be able to do it, because I know that it's just been very impactful for a lot of people. I want everybody from North Carolina Central to know that I repped North Carolina Central on the back of this book, because that was such an integral part of who I became as a woman. There are so many things that happen over the course of your life as you're growing. I can probably see a bit of myself in every single character. Some of the emotion that you feel from the book will be because my tears were in the book. And so when you're reading it, and if you feel tearful, it's because I was probably tearful at the time when I was writing it. This book is about the journey of 3 women and their lives. These 3 women met in college, Mari, Twyla, and Fab. They are just like women that I know. When you read the book, you'll understand what I mean by that. They experience a vast array of issues that happen in their life. But what happens is, once you go through this journey, they decided, a couple of them anyway, decided that celibacy was a key factor for keeping themselves focused. And getting to what it was that they were trying to do. And when you're on that walk, because that's a walk that I'm on, that's a walk that I have been on, it's not easy. You can have urges and things that will take your mind away from what it is that you need to be doing. But for me, I feel like it's important as women, especially women with daughters, women with children, it's important that you don't invite everybody into your spirit, into your space. And so that's one of the huge themes in this book. But I don't want anybody to think that it's boring because it's about celibacy. It is about the salacious journey that they go through prior to the celibacy and what got them to that particular point. So, I think that at the end of the day, the things that I've gone through as a woman, and as a mother, and as a friend, there's one part in the book where the 3 friends come together to, encourage their friend who has gone through a really bad breakup. And Fab is the character, and she falls into the arms of her friend, Twyla, and she collapses, and she's weeping as if somebody has passed away. A lot of the women who have read this book, when they call me back, they say, oh my gosh, the part where her friends came to her rescue, that chapter is called Ride or Die. And we have to have some ride or die folks in our circle. But you also have to know who you are. And that's what the book is mainly about, getting in tune with who you are, listening to the still small voice that's inside of you, so that you can make strides to do the things that you really want to do in this life. And don't let the focus deviate from that, just because, and I'm not saying that sex is a bad thing. I'm just saying sex in the right context is what I think we need to be more focused on, because you can jump into bed with somebody and 6 months later decide you don't even like the person. And so you are in an emotional relationship, because women are emotional creatures. We go through these, we are intakers, that's what I always say. Men can get up, shake it off, and go on about their business. But we have taken somebody into our spirit. And so we have to be more cognizant of what we do, and who we are. And so I don't want to browbeat people with, the faith-based message, but it is in and through this book. It just gives you, tidbits of scripture and that sort of thing, just to give you some basis, to be able to see your way through this journey. So the Chronicles is a trilogy. It is, of course, a 3-part series. This particular book is called The Chronicles Elevator Silence. The next one that I'm currently working on is called The Chronicles Sidetracked. And then the third one is The Chronicles, and I don't have the title of that yet. And I will tell you that these titles come to me in such a way that when I hear it, I'll know that's exactly what it's supposed to be. All of the books I would like to have done by mid-July. And the reason for that is really based on the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. And I say that not because I want to follow the storyline that she did. I know that people's attention spans can be short, and so I really wanted to be able to have my audience access the second part of the story quickly, or the third part of the story quickly, because people have fallen in love with these characters. They're rooting for these characters, and so they want to find out what's happening next. And so for me, the book was always a trilogy for me. Actually, when I started writing it, I never saw it as just one book. Because there were 3 characters, I felt that I needed to, in each book, focus a little more on each character. You'll see in the second book, and you'll see on the cover of that book, the men and the women are paired together. Of course, on the first book, they're singular, and they're singular because I just wanted to introduce you to the women. And you see the poses, and it kind of describes the personality, of each woman. But this time, the men are pictured with the women, and so they're going to play a more prevalent role. For anybody who's read the book, Chase is going to be a big character this time, and I'm also bringing Mr. back. So for anybody who has any thought processes, hit the website. That's www.LatiseM.Howie.com, and go to the contact section and let me know what you think. Tell me what you think Mr. should do, or Chase should do, because I really want my reader to be engaged. And it's been amazing to get the feedback that I've received. For me, the book was going to be successful if it was sitting on my coffee table. That was the original, thought process. I thought, I'm going to write these 3 books, and I'm okay if they're just on my coffee table, between my Michael Jackson book and my Barack Obama book, but to get the feedback in real time, from people where the book is touching them, in a very emotional place, I can't describe to you how that makes me feel. And I also know that because I'm getting, I'll call people and say, okay, you read it. At this part, did you laugh? And if they say, yeah, I did, every single time, what I needed that person to feel at that particular time, they felt that. And so that's how I know that this is something that God gave me to do. This has nothing to do with Latise Howie. This has everything to do with the message that God would have me get out to whoever needs it. And so, I realized a long time ago that it's beyond me. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just the vessel that He's using to get the message out. So, it's been intense. I'll say this. I had a review from a young lady, somebody that I know, and she reviewed it on Amazon, and she's going through whatever her personal struggle is. And she said, I'll just be so glad for my elevator door to open so that I can get off this floor, so that I can breathe. And for her to say that, I know where that place is. I've been, in that place, and I know many women, many men, who have been in that same place. The title of this book was inspired by inside of an elevator. I was in South Carolina at the beach, and I just remember getting onto the elevator. And you know how you get on an elevator and you instantly you look up, or you look in front of you where the reflection, you can just kind of see your reflection, or you look down, or you briefly say hello to your passenger, but you don't really, you don't talk to them or whatever, because elevators are uncomfortable. You're on there with people that you just don't know usually, right? And the silence that you experience in an elevator can be deafening, and sometimes if you're in an elevator by yourself, if you're going through something, your thoughts can be really loud on that elevator, getting to the next floor. I found that life is that way. You go through things and you just want that elevator door to open so that you can move on to the next floor, so you can exhale and, and walk on about your way. And so the analogy of the elevator is used throughout the book. And I did that purposefully. Each chapter is called a floor. And so people will call me and say, oh, I'm on the 17th floor, and I did that intentionally because I wanted people to be able to track easily, where they were. And I will tell you that when I was actually writing the book, the title of the chapter didn't come to me until after I wrote the chapter. So, I could be writing and then I would read it again, and then I would say, okay, chapter 4, which is Semen is a Cloud, it came to me after, I read it. It has been an amazing journey, to watch women and men both enjoy the book. My brother, who is not a reader, a lot of men who have picked up the book and read it, they say, this book is, amazing. I want my wife to read it. I want my sister to read it. I want to read it. There's a scene in the barbershop where, one of the characters, they take their sons to the barbershop. And the sons, that's an every Saturday event, right? And, the barbershop is loud and it's foul language and it's all of that. But those boys have been going to that barbershop, that's part of teaching those boys how to be men, And so I wanted the male role to be seen, in the book. I didn't want to browbeat men, There are some, parts in the book where these women have gone through various issues with men. So you might think that, she's just beating up on these men. That is to describe how they got to the place that they are right now. My book was actually dedicated to Billy Meisenheimer Jr. He passed away February 12th of last year. They called him Micey. He was my best friend's husband, and he was a part of, my kid's birth, and all big stuff that happened in my life. Felicia was always there, so Billy was always there. And so when Billy passed away, it was like a light bulb just kind of went off and said, look, I know that man left here. He was 39 years old. He left here with things he wanted to do, and so I just say that it doesn't matter, how old you are, how busy you are, what you have going on. You should take the time to do the things that drive you. Do the things that make you the most happy, the things that you dream about. Because when I tell you that this went from a thought in my head to a physical, tangible item that people, they are reading it, they are enjoying it, and it just came from a thought, and so I really encourage people to make sure you don't stop, no matter what, just keep going. I went and self-published. I went through createspace.com, and it was much simpler than what people think. It was not nearly as expensive as people would think. You can do it so that it's very, very expensive, or you can do it where it's very, very nominal. So I would be more than happy to help people. I've had people ask me to ghostwrite for them. I'll be more than happy to do it. So really, if it's something that you think you want to do, if you write poetry and you just want to compile it, just so that it's finished, or if you write music or whatever it is that you do that thing that makes you happy. Don't let your age be a barrier. Don't let your busy life be a barrier. Don't let anything stop you from achieving the goal that you want, to achieve. The only person that can stop you is you. And then if you don't try it, how do you know if it would be successful? Who would have thought that, January 14th, I'll just be really candid. I lost my job. January 14th, I had this amazing position in property management. I made a lot of money. And the management company came in and said, we're going to let you and your maintenance supervisor go. Sorry. And by 3 o'clock, they already had somebody taking my place. Now, most people would have folded. They would have fainted before they prayed, right? I got up from my desk and he said, well, do you want to finish today? This was like 1 o'clock. I was like, I don't want to finish today. I want to go home and I'm going to finish my book so I can get my book out and published, and I'm going to move forward. Luckily, I had money in the bank, so I was okay. It was like God just gave me a window. Who gets to take a month off? I've gotten a really great offer since then that I've accepted, so, I'm really excited. But who gets to take a month off from their job and write a book, or finish a book that they've been writing? So I didn't look at it as a detriment. I looked at it as an opportunity. And I walked through the door. I came home and I told my brother, I was like, they let me go. My brother was like, wow, really? Next thing you know, I was in my room finishing up the finishing touches on the book. 2 weeks later, my book was out and published. So I have to say, there is nothing that can stop you but you. If you decide you stop, then that's on you. God gives us opportunity. You just have to know when to walk through the door. This is my brother, Morathi Howie. Morathi was one of the very first people to be able to review the book for me. And I was hoarding the book. Like, I didn't want anybody to read it because it was my baby, right? But finally, I had to let somebody read it to get feedback. So I gave it to him. And he does not like to read novels. And he read it in one sitting, one day. So I'll let him share with you his feelings.
How y'all doing, everybody? Yeah, I had a chance to read my sister's book. First off, I didn't know that my sister could write like this at all. I know my family, my mom, we get it from my mom, we know we're good in English. So my sister told me that she was writing a book. I'm like, okay, all right, let me check out and see what you're talking about. So she was telling me certain things about the book, and it was kind of capturing my mind. So she spoke the book into existence. So when the book finally came, I had a chance to read it. And being a male, and the book is really kind of geared more towards women. I didn't know how to really take it until I got into the book and I read the very first introduction of the book. I'm like, the book is nice. So I kept reading, and it's really, really a page turner. And the thing about it is, the message within the book is it's meant for women, but it's a universal message for people that's trying to develop a better part of their life, and take their spirit to another level as far as their internal development. So even a male can read the book and get certain things out of it because it's got certain Bible scriptures and stuff like that you can read and you can relate to. It's universal. But what I do know is that I don't read novels like that. Now I read self-help books and stuff like that, books that that I can sit and write notes on, and then I can really apply it to my life like that. But this book right here, it's a page turner. It's something that you can really read. And sisters, I don't care if you in down south, you could be in the East Coast, the West Coast, up north, you can relate to one of these three characters in this book, female characters. If you can't relate to them, you got a best friend that can relate to this book. So it's a beautiful book. I'm very, very, very proud of my sister. I know where the book is going to go. Me and my sister, we self-motivate each other. We've always been that way towards each other. So I know that if she put this book out and she manifested these thoughts onto paper, and she went this far, that the book is going to take off, it's going to manifest. So anybody that get a personal copy, make sure you get my sister to sign it for you, because you know she's gonna be famous when it comes to this book and the trilogies that she's doing with the book. So again, I'm very proud of her.
And
very
just
proud of her.
please know that was never really, it was never the intent. Like that, I think that's what is so, I get very emotional, and it's been extraordinarily humbling to so it had nothing to do with everybody knowing my name. It had everything to do with a message that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you decided that, okay, oh, I know her, I'm not going to buy the book just because I know her, please know that it has nothing to do with Latise M.Howie. It has something to do with the message that God is trying to get to you. Because I promise you that if you pick this book up, and if you can't relate to somebody, let me know that too. You know, tell me what wasn't realistic. Like I had a lunch with a gentleman, and he said, that scene in the restaurant, it never would have went that way if that was an actual guy. And I said, he said, because I think that woman would have been a lot more upset. And I said, well, she's a Southern belle. So I had the opportunity to really dialogue with him, you know, about the character. And so he was like, oh, okay. He said, but next time, you know, I need you to make her go off a little harder. So, you know, I want all the feedback. I don't, you know, I'm not one of those people. I think that constructive criticism is something that you need for growth. And so please let me know if you find a flaw or something like that. Let me know, because I'm growing. This is my very first attempt at this, you know, so and I want it to be the best product that it can be. So I believe that's
all I know is that you for it to be the first book, you're gonna be amazed. Like, okay, you're gonna be like, man, this can't be your first book that you ever wrote.
right.
But you know, it's a wonderful book. I know whenever I leave, I'm taking me some copies I have some copies that I want to give out to some sisters that need to read this book. So
Yeah, he lives in Zimbabwe, so we want to make the book international.
that's right. So I'm gonna take
And
that
another
book
cool
into
thing
Africa.
is if you go to Amazon, it's Amazon International. So I was able to see my book translated in 8 different languages. That was intense.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that was intense. So if you
Wow.
if you click, you know, if you go to Japan and you want to buy the book in Japan, it's going to be printed in Japanese, you know, and that was a really cool experience. To be able to see my book actually translated in all these, you know, different languages around the world. So I want everybody to relate to it, because I think that everybody, you know, everybody can. It's written from an African American woman's perspective. So I don't want the language that's used sometimes in the book to deter anyone, because I think the message is powerful. So if you get past, you know, some of the things that we say to each other, you know, as African American people, you know, even my white girlfriends have purchased the book, and I've gotten tremendous feedback from them as well. So please, you know, once you purchase it, feel free to tell me what you think, you know, because again, I want it to be a growth process. And you guys you're falling in love with the ladies and the men the way that I did. So that's powerful. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.